Hi, it's Therese from Lostinpaper. I'm here for Altenew and the MISTI Collab, and today I'm going to be having some fun and showing a couple of quick techniques to make life a little bit easier when you have a MISTI. So I'm going to be using this matching set of stamps and dies called Striped Florals. They're a really pretty Altenew set, and I've used a couple of the dies before, but most of the dies are still joined together in one piece. And this is a great trick that I saw Amy Rasavi uses it quite a bit at her blog. And basically, I'm saving time. I'm going to be stamping out all my images once, which is a great thing that you can do with the MISTI, but then they're all going to be ready to die cut, and I'll be able to die cut them in just one pass, which just saves so much time. So what I've done is actually lay the die cut, the dies facing downwards, so the cutting side's actually facing towards the cardstock, and then I'm just setting my stamps directly into where the die cut's going to be. And I'm just making sure I'm aligning them up as best I can. It's not going to be perfect. You're certainly going to get a much better result if you stamp each one individually. But when you press for time, or you want a lot of images in a bouquet or whatever, it's just so much easier. So you can just simply flip your lid and pick up all of the stamps, and then I can just take my die away and keep it aside and all in one piece, so it's ready to go. So I'm going to be doing some Copic colouring today. So I've got my Memento Tuxedo Black, and I'm just going to stamp these images out as normal. And if I wanted to do multiples, I could just keep on stamping like a few sheets of cardstock at once. Makes it so easy. I like to colour my images before I die cut them out, and today I'm keeping it very simple. I'm literally just adding colour. I'm not even really blending hardly at all. I just thought I'd simply, because there's going to be a lot of flowers on this card, no one's really going to notice, and I like the striped sort of sketchy look of these flowers, and I thought it looked fun if I just didn't have them perfectly coloured. So when I started this card, I really wasn't sure which direction I was going to go, so I just chose colours that I thought would work well together, and if I did or didn't use all of the images, it doesn't really matter because I can always use them on another project. I think actually, I do actually use all of these images on this card. And I've shown most of the colours that I have coloured with, I think, on the video, but if you do want to know the specific colours, I will link it through to the description below to my blog. So now here's the fun part. I've got my die, and it, like I said, it's not going to be perfect, but it's actually, yeah, and I did forget to colour the centre of my yellow flower, but I wasn't really sure what colour I wanted it to be because I wasn't sure which colours I was going to use on my card, so I'll come in and colour that later. It won't take me long. So I'm just lining this up as best I can. Because I'm making a bouquet, it doesn't have to be perfect. And these other single flowers, I'm just taping those down. And it takes longer. So having them all together like this, time saving. I'm just going to run that through my die cutting machine. And voila. Next I'm going to start working on my sentiment, and I've got my card just tucked into the corner of my MISTI, and this is a great tip that I learned from Liliana, and I'm wanting to use two separate stamps to create my sentiment, and they're from the Painted Rose set. And I've got a piece of acetate there. That's simply just to protect the front of my card because I don't know if I've got any ink on the stamps, and this is going to be, any bit of ink is going to show up on the white card base. And then I can just remove the acetate before I put my ink onto the stamp. What I'm going to do here is actually test the stamp and make sure that it's nice and straight. You can look at the grid lines on the outside of the MISTI, but I've got one of those little pieces of paper with the grid lines on it, and I can just look at those grid lines, and if I'm happy with the placement, then I can just simply stamp it out. I'm using some jet black ink from Altenew. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the second part of my stamp. I'm protecting my card with the acetate again, putting the word you, just sort of moving it around until I'm happy with where I think it might look good. Pick it up with the lid of the MISTI and then remove the acetate. Now I can just do exactly the same thing again. Because I've got my card tucked into the corner, I know it's going to be in the same place each time I stamp, and I can stamp that down onto my grid paper on the back and just make sure that I'm happy with the alignment of the two sentiments together. And that looks great, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp that now. And the colour I'm going to use this time is Lava Rock. It's one of the other Altenew inks. It's a nice, it's the darkest of the grey colours. It's a real warm grey. And now it's just a matter of making my bouquet. I like to use my Tombow runner as well as glue dots. I'm not actually pushing hard on the flowers and leaves as I'm putting them down, because that way I can lift them up and change the position until I'm sort of happy. I'd already played around with the bouquet and I knew kind of where I wanted everything, and mostly I'm just adhering it direct to the card base. But I do pop up a couple of the flowers, the blue one and the yellow one, but I just use, it's only a really thin foam tape, it's only 1mm high. So it's a fairly flat card, it'd be an easy one to post. Then I can come in and colour the centre. I decided blue would look good, and then a few little stickles for a bit of glitter, and that's my card done. I hope you've had fun on this collab today. I know you're going to see heaps of great projects. Until next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.